Hey guys, you're welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're a new subscriber, you're welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming back. My name is Tolulope, and today I'm going to be talking about why you should register your business and the things you should know before registering your business. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe and let's get right into this video. Okay, so like I said earlier, I'm going to be talking about why you should register your business and 5 things you ought to know before you register your business. So I'll be starting with why you should register your business. And the first reason why you should register your business is because it's a legal requirement. The law actually requires that a company must be registered before you can start doing business or enter into any contract or anything like that. Why, if you're registering a business name, you should register it within 28 days from the date you started doing business. So basically, the law requires that you should register your business, and entering into contract with a company that has not been registered is actually very risky, because except such a contract is ratified after the company has been registered, you are on your own basically. And another risky thing about it is that a company that has not been registered is basically like a child that has not been born. It does not have the right to enter into contract. It does not have the right to lease a building or an apartment or an office space. You can't open your own bank account. You can't do anything like that. So the law requires that before you start business as a company, you should register. And then the second reason I'll be giving is protection of your company name or business name or whatever. So actually, registering your business gives you the exclusive right to use that business name. It will be quite devastating if, let's say, you started doing business with a particular name for like 6 months, 7 months, and then after a while you see someone else using the name, and then the person, you don't realize that the person has even been using their own since 2 years ago. So like, there's nothing you can do about it basically. Or after you've already gotten attached to a name and then you try registering and then CAC tells you that name already exists or something. So it's actually advisable to protect your name and also to stop other people from using that name. You should register your business name or your company to give you the exclusive rights to use that name. So another reason why you should register your business name or company name is to make you eligible to own a corporate bank account and also apply for loans and grants and bid for contracts and that kind of stuff. No bank is going to register you a corporate bank account for you or give you a bank account when you have not registered your company. And it's a bit sloppy to have a company and then you're still asking customers and investors to pay money into an account that does not carry your corporate name. Some persons will be wary to do business with you. It's just tidier when your company bank account carries the corporate name of the company. And also when you want to bid for government contracts or even loans and grants, nobody is going to give you a loan or a grant when your company has not been registered and you don't have a certificate of incorporation or registration of business name. Also, for businesses that require permits and government permits and licenses, you are required to register your company. And because most of all these permits, where you want to apply for them, for instance, DPR and this export permits and all of that, would require for your incorporation documents. And if you've not registered your company or your business, you cannot have those documents. So if you are in a line of business where you require some sort of government permits or licenses and all of that, then that is another good reason why you need to register your company. And finally, I'm talking about the fact that registering your business gives it legitimacy, basically, because a company that has not been registered is like a child that has not been born. So it does not exist. So it's just only you that knows that you're using that name. The government has not recognized that you're using that name. So it's just tidier and easier. It just makes it legit, because a lot of people now, before they will do business with you, they are going to go on the CAC website to do a public search to ensure that business or company exists. And it's just embarrassing when someone does a public search on your company and then they say nothing like that exists, and then you're telling them to bring money and be to pay you. Nobody's going to pay you when they've done a search and since he has told them that there's no registered company like that. So it just makes your business legit. It makes your business, it gives it more class when it is registered, it is properly legal and everything. So that is some reasons why you should register your business. So, moving on, I'm going to be talking about 5 things you ought to know before you go ahead with your business registration. Now that I've convinced you to go and register your business. Okay, so I feel like the first thing is to know what you want to register. Does that make sense? Okay, what I mean is you should know whether you want to register a company or you want to register a business name. So basically, if it's like a sole proprietorship kind of arrangement, like a one-man business kind of thing, then it is faster to register a business name. It is cheaper, it is faster, and it still protects your rights to use that name, and you get a registration of a certificate of registration of business name, basically. So while if you want to register like a proper company with directors and shareholders and company secretary and all of that, then you could go for a company registration. Then you should know whether you want to register a private company or a public company. Generally, a lot of people register private companies when it's like a small business, or people, a lot of people register private companies. But if you know that your business is like going international or global, or you are going to have like branches in other countries, or you are going into some sort of sector like banking where it is required that you should register a public company, or maybe you want to list your company on Nigerian Stock Exchange and all of that, then you should register a public company. Otherwise, most people register private companies. Then after you've decided whether you want to register a public company or a private company, the next thing is to know what sort of company you want to register, in the sense that whether it's a company limited by shares, a company limited by guarantee, or an unlimited company. So a company limited by shares basically is a, how do I even differentiate this thing now? Okay. So a company is said to be a company limited by shares in the sense that the liability of the shareholders of that company in the event that the company goes into winding up is limited by the amount of shares that they hold in that company that they've not paid for. So basically, a creditor cannot come after the personal property of a shareholder of that company except for the amounts they've not paid. Or maybe they can see that there was fraud, maybe they use the company to commit fraud, or other exceptions like that. So, and that is like the most common kind of company. Almost everybody incorporates a company, a brand company limited by shares. Why unlimited company is not very common. Basically, it means that your liability is not limited in that kind of company. There are some sectors that they require that if you want to do business, it has to be an unlimited company. This is to allow creditors to come after shareholders, because they're usually like all these trust sectors with high risk and all of that. If you want to go into those sectors, you have to incorporate an unlimited company, which basically means that in the event of winding up, your liability as a shareholder is unlimited. Any debt that the company is owing, any creditor, they can come after your own personal property. While a company that is limited by guarantee basically means that each member, each shareholder, each member of that company, they guarantee to pay a particular amount of money in the event of winding up, and they are only liable to pay that amount of money. But that too is actually not so common, and it's basically for these schools and academies, that kind of stuff. It's not majorly for, it's not for business people. So the ones that are the most common type of company is actually a company limited by shares. So I feel like that's the first thing you should know, and I hope that I did not become too technical with this particular point. So the second thing that you ought to know before registering your business is the licenses and permits that you'll be needing for that particular industry or sector or economic sector that you want to do your business in. For instance, if you are going into banking, you know that you need a CBN license. If you are going into fintech, you need a CBN license. If you are going into oil and gas, you need a DPR license. If you want to register a school, you know you need is some sort of permit from the Ministry of Education. If you are going into lottery, insurance, um, sports betting, online betting, all those stuff, you know that you need some sort of permit and license. If you are going into money lending, you know you need a permit and license. If you want to export, insurance, all of that, a lot of sectors are highly regulated, so you do need some sort of governmental permits and licenses. So you should another thing that I feel like you should put into consideration, because some of these licenses can be expensive, some could take a long time to get, and you should look into that before you decide to go into business in a particular sector. So there's like a lot of background noise. Please ignore. So the third thing I feel like you should know before registering your company or your business is what you want to name the business, like your business name or company name or whatever. And basically, when you want to register, they require for two names. One is the preferred name and the other one is the optional name. And any of them could actually be approved, or they could even reject the both of them, depending on whether whatever reason that says is given for rejecting them. But basically, you should know that there are names that are restricted and there are names that are prohibited. Names that include things like state government, federal, municipal, group, holding, chambers of commerce, and some other things like that. They are restricted. You cannot use those names except you have obtained consent first. So if you are trying to register a company that has words like state, government, federal, municipal, regional, group, holding, those kind of stuff, it won't be registered except you've obtained consent first. And there's also another group that is prohibited. That one includes names that have already been registered. If, for instance, someone already has Ada Nigeria Limited, and then you are trying to register your own company and it's still Ada Nigeria Limited, or maybe Ado Nigeria Limited or something like that, you'll probably not be registered because it already exists, or it's similar to a name that already exists. And another thing that is prohibited is names that are offensive, or that the commission, that the Corporate Affairs Commission, considers to be offensive or deceptive in nature, to not be registered. So these are things that you should put into consideration when picking a name, because you actually have to reserve name and you pay for these things. So if they keep rejecting, you keep paying. So you could waste a lot of time and be expensive. So you have to be careful when you're picking your name. So I feel like that's the third thing you should know. So another thing you should know is who registers companies. So I've just been talking about register your business. Who actually registers business in Nigeria? Okay, so the government agency that is in charge of registering businesses in Nigeria is the CAC, the Corporate Affairs Commission. They're in charge of formation, registration, administration, winding up, and all of that. Everything that has to do with companies in Nigeria, the Corporate Affairs Commission is in charge. They are the body that register companies and businesses in Nigeria, basically. But you should also know that there are other regulatory bodies that are in charge of companies, basically. If, for instance, now you want to go into banking, you know that there are CBN guidelines, so that's the Central Bank of Nigeria guidelines that you have to comply with. You also have to obtain license from them, although they are not in charge of registering companies per se, but because of the sector in which your business is, they also regulate companies. They regulate also the SEC, that's the Securities and Exchange Commission. Securities and Exchange Commission. They also have some regulatory powers. If, for instance, you want to put your the shares of your company on the Nigerian Stock Exchange and all of that, you need clearance and all of that from SEC. So they also regulate companies. There are a lot of regulatory bodies that regulate companies in Nigeria. So apart from CAC, there are also other companies. Another one is FIRS. All companies must pay tax. You understand? Here, all companies must pay tax. So because of that, FIRS too has some duties that they have to perform. They'll issue you your tax clearance certificate, your TIN, and all of that. So FIRS also has some. It's another body that regulates companies and all of that. But the major body, like the main body that registers company in Nigeria, is the CAC, the Corporate Affairs Commission. So finally, the fifth thing I'll be talking about, the fifth thing that I feel like you should know before you go into registering your business is share capital requirements. So basically, when we say like share capital, it does not mean like you have to bring the whole money. Because some places where they're like, you ask them like share capital 1 million naira. I don't have 1 million. It doesn't require that you should bring the 1 million naira in cash, but there's actually every company must have a share capital. You understand? If you are doing business in a company, that company must have a share capital. I think right now, the CAMA, that's the Corporate and Allied Matters Act 2020, the provision is that for private companies must have a minimum issued share capital of 100,000 naira, while for public companies they must have a minimum issued share capital of 2 million naira, basically. But apart from that, a lot of business sectors in Nigeria there's a minimum share capital threshold. Like for banks, I think it's like 5 billion, depending on if it's like a national, if it's regional, it's a different amount. If it's only within a state, it's a different amount. Like that. Like if you want to do business in, for instance, lottery, insurance, fintechs, a lot of sectors like that, there are also minimum share capital thresholds. For instance, companies that have foreign participation, they must have at least 10 million naira share capital. So you have to also know the minimum share capital. But normally, most private companies limited by shares, they start with like 1 million naira share capital. You could always increase your share capital when you want to, anything like that. So I feel like these are 5 things that you ought to know before you decide to go into your company registration. So I hope you guys enjoy watching this video, and it ended up being longer than I thought it was going to be, but I had fun making it. If you have any comment or questions, you could leave them down in the comment section below. Please subscribe if you have not, and you can turn on your post notification bell so you get notified every time that I put out a new video. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye.